Lightning flashed through the air and dark clouds covered the sky. A heavy rain was about to fall. Inside Wohu City, Chen Xiang, while looking up the sky, muttered to himself, I cannot delay any longer. If I don't find a good spirit herb soon I might never get the opportunity again. Chen Xiang had just turned 16 this year, and his build was more robust than others of similar age. Although he had a handsome face and youthful countenance, his eyes have a sense of maturity that was not present in others his age. Although his grandfather was the patriarch of the Chen family, because Chen Xiang didn't have any spiritual veins, he had to pick herbs for himself. Not having spiritual veins meant he was incapable of practicing martial arts. Since he was a child, he had been diligently training his own body and secretly going out to train. He once even fought a tiger-type beast. Although he was young, due to the amount of life and death experiences Chen Xiang had endured, his mental state was far more fortified than the mental states of his peers. Chen Xiang, what are you doing out here? A storm is about to blow in. Are you sure you want to be out in this weather? An old steward spoke while walking towards him. Seeing the amount of hard work Chen Xiang did every day, the old steward could not help but admire him. However, a sliver of regret could be seen in his eyes. Chen Xiang had worked very hard and practiced every day for 6 years, but he was stuck at the 3rd level of the mortal martial realm. Other Chen family members, of a similar age, had already entered into the 4th level of the mortal martial realm, and some had even reached the 5th level. This was all due to the fact that he didn't have any spiritual veins. As such, the family didn't attach any importance to him, and he was only treated as an ordinary member of the Chen family. Although he lacked spiritual veins, he had never been discouraged by it and had been diligently training himself. The process of attempting to train allowed him to feel a sense of accomplishment. Old Ma, I was just going to pick some herbs. Chen Xiang laughed and ran up to the old steward, who sighed and shook his head. It's useless since you do not have any spiritual veins. No matter how hard you practice, you still won't be able to advance. Chen Xiang had heard such words all throughout his life, but he still insisted that, no matter what, he would not give up. A middle-aged man walked up to the two of them. Xiang, are you really going to go out in this weather? Chen Xiang, with a small smile on his face, said, Dad, the storm is a good opportunity for me to pick herbs as no one will be there to snatch them from me. The middle-aged man was Chen Xiang's father, Chen Xiang, a very famous and formidable cultivator and also one of the most promising candidates to inherit the position of patriarch of the Chen family. Though his son was somewhat crippled, he had always encouraged Chen Xiang, and, from time to time, provided him with precious pills. Unfortunately, the pills didn't have any effect on Chen Xiang. Here, Chen Xiang smiled helplessly and threw a small box towards Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang took the box without even looking at what was inside because he knew that it contained a pill. He smiled and said, Dad, thank you. Now I don't need to steal the chickens that old Ma raised for his health. That comment made the steward frown. He didn't know that his chickens had been targeted. Watching Chen Xiang as he left, Chen Xiang could only let out a sigh because although he had a very high status within the Chen family, the elders in charge of managing the pills were very strict, as pills were precious resources for cultivation, and thus, he could only save a few of them for Chen Xiang. Sadly, their therapeutic effect actually was not that significant, because they were too few in number to affect Chen Xiang. What father doesn't hope for his son to become successful in life? As Chen Xiang did not have any other methods, all he could do was acquire some pills for Chen Xiang, and hope for the best. Immortal Devil Cliff. This was a very desolate place, and, at the moment, a bare-chested teenager was climbing down the cliff. Under the heavy downpour, Chen Xiang was actually climbing down the cliff. This was extremely dangerous, as the Immortal Devil Cliff was very deep and filled with a type of black chi that gave off an aura of death, therefore many people didn't even want to approach this place. Nevertheless, Chen Xiang still came here to pick some herbs and was gradually descending into the ravine, slowly approaching the bottom. If others were to know about this, they would laugh at him for being a madman. At a place that even birds don't shit, which was eternally filled with death chi, it was hard to imagine that it was an ideal location for spirit herbs. Of course, Chen Xiang was not stupid. He knew that this Immortal Devil Cliff had been present for many, many years and had always been full of death chi. According to common sense, this lifeless place shouldn't have any spirit herbs, but Chen Xiang didn't actually believe that, as he knew that when things reached to an extreme, there was bound to be some reason for that extreme to exist, and he believes this eternal death chi is caused by a legendary spirit herb. Hell Spirit Grass. Although this spirit herb sounded very deadly, it was actually a very strange herb, which could even make a dead skeleton regrow its flesh. It ordinarily grew in ancient battlefields or in cemeteries where the death chi was abundant. Only on rainy days would the black chi sink, all due to the rainfall. Because of this, Chen Xiang was able to see down into the deep precipice. He wanted to go deeper into this place so that he could search for the hell spirit grass. He doesn't want the hell spirit grass for himself, but if he got this sacred herb, he could trade it for many precious pills, which would allow him to be free from his current predicament and gain formidable strength. Raindrops continuously fell on Chen Xiang, making him feel very uncomfortable while also making the rocks on the cliffside very slippery. He became very cautious, and carefully climbed down the cliff, so as not to fall. Nobody knew what was at the bottom of the immortal devil cliff, and there had been many who have gone down, but the number of people that have climbed back up was 0. To fall down meant death. 2 hours had passed and the rain continued to fall. Chen Xiang had been exercising for many years and, just by relying on his strong body, he had descended several dozen feet into the deep precipice. Chen Xiang carefully observed his surroundings and found a good temporary shelter. Then he saw something which made his heart beat rapidly. Hell spirit grass. Chen Xiang shouted out with excitement, gazing straight down. He saw something similar to a white sesame seed cake. He was confident that this was the legendary hell spirit grass. The whole ravine was filled with black death chi, and, to top it all off, the color of the hell spirit grass and the cliff was the same, making this herb very difficult to spot. Though Chen Xiang was very excited, he calmed himself down and rested for a moment, before continuing his journey down. It wasn't long before Chen Xiang arrived next to that hell spirit grass. He swallowed his saliva and looked at the white hell spirit grass that was the size of a bowl. He could feel the vigorous life force emitted by the hell spirit grass. Chen Xiang picked up the hell spirit grass with one hand. He estimated that this hell spirit grass had been growing for more than 1,000 years. Selling it on the auction would earn him an astronomical sum. Chen Xiang picked up the spirit grass, put it inside his storage pouch, and then grinned. Haha, it's time for this daddy's salted fish to stand up from failure. So long as he is able to sell this hell spirit grass, he will be able to purchase a lot of good rank pills, then he will be able to advance by leaps and bounds. The rain was gradually easing up and Chen Xiang was very content right now, so he didn't continue searching the huge cliff, and, instead, choose to climb back up. After all, his strength was very limited, and climbing up was a very hard and dangerous task. After climbing for more than half an hour, the precipice suddenly started to tremble and shake. Chen Xiang's heart was palpitating as he realized that something bad was happening. As he looked above, he saw many small stones falling from the cliffside. As they fell into the abyss, the trembling cliff began to shake much more severely. Damn, I finally got the hell spirit grass and this happens. Heaven, are you kidding me? The cliff's sudden shaking couldn't help but make Chen Xiang curse bitterly. He wanted to remain calm, so he made himself hold onto the rugged cliff, otherwise, he would have fallen down in shock. The tremors continued to increase in strength and Chen Xiang gradually fell into despair. He, again, looked up and saw a giant piece of rock falling towards him. At the same time, the rock he was holding began to crack. God, I just got the hell spirit grass, but now you are bringing me down to hell. Are you f-king with me? Chen Xiang could not help but curse, but this time, the black chi started to rise up, and the rock Chen Xiang was holding broke. Ah! Chen Xiang's body fell into the abyss, filled with black chi, and shouted, with unwillingness filling his voice. After an unknown amount of time passed by, Chen Xiang finally opened his eyes. To his surprise, he was able to see light within the abyss, and what astonished him the most was that there was water present here. He was also able to breathe. Chen Xiang floated to the surface, and he saw that he was currently in a pool shining with a white aura. What shocked Chen Xiang, even more, was that, not far from him, there were 2 stunning girls with long hair, sitting on the ground. And even more shocking than before was that these 2 celestial beauties were naked. Their 2 perfect and flawless jade bodies were completely visible in front of him. Those 2, with their pure faces, which were like meticulously carved jade statues, being without the slightest flaw. Their twin peaks were abundant and their waists were slender and smooth. They were beautiful and breathtaking. This was Chen Xiang's first time seeing women as beautiful as them. The fragrant and stunning scene had a great impact on Chen Xiang, shocking him into stillness. His whole face flushed red and his heart and breathing seemed to have stopped. The 2 girls were hunkered down and looking at each other. After some time, they finally found Chen Xiang, but they totally disregarded him, and, seeing this, Chen Xiang felt humiliated. as he was totally disregarded by the two beauties. After a period of absent-mindedness, Chen Xiang was finally able to see that the crevasse was falling apart. There were many cracks and pits visible, broken stones were scattered on the ground and, alongside the broken stones, there were pieces of scattered white silk, which gave him the idea that a battle had been fought here. He speculated that it was these two girls that were the cause of the battle, which had led to their clothes being torn apart. Chen Xiang did not know about why these two stunning and alluring girls were fighting here, in this abyss, but he realized that these two women were quite formidable, and their strength was beyond the scope of his knowledge, being able to shake the earth and move mountains with their power. These two are the cause of my current predicament. They shook the cliff and caused me to plunge down here, but, fortunately, I had some good luck and did not die. Chen Xiang was angry, but, at the same time, he was curious about these two mysterious girls. Chen Xiang slowly walked towards the two women, marveling at their flawless jade bodies. The abyss next to the immortal devil cliff was called hell, but, for Chen Xiang, this hell was similar to paradise. There was a deep pool filled with a soothing white aura and, most importantly, beside this pool there were two stunning naked girls. Only, at this time, the two girls realized that not far from them, a pair of fiery red eyes were glancing at them, and they felt shame and anger at his leering gaze. The two absolutely gorgeous girls did not move, yet he felt a monstrous killing intent coming from them. Their perfect eyes were squinting, due to anger, but, for some reason, they were not able to turn their heads. Sisters, aren't you cold? Why aren't you wearing any clothes? I'm feeling cold just standing here. Chen Xiang did not know what to say, so he asked a random question. At this time, the coldly elegant girl, with an ice-cold face, said, "You take one more step and I will let you experience the pain of your bones corroding. You might as well just wish for death." Although the girl sounded crisp and ethereal and would have been perfect but for one thing, her voice didn't contain any emotion. The girl's looks and temperament were just like her voice. Her presence would cause anyone, who saw her, to feel cold. Her eyes were filled with a cold aura, revealing a deep hostility in them. "Brat, if you dare come closer, I'll make sure you regret ever being born into this world." The other girl spoke in a low voice. Her voice was pleasing to the ear, coming from all sides and captivating one's soul. Her beauty was that of a seductress, a stunning masterpiece to all those who saw her. Having two stunning beauties standing in front of him greatly tempted Chen Xiang. Though he would never call himself a gentleman, he was not a deceitful person. At present, though the two girls were unable to move, he did not take advantage of them. Chen Xiang calmed down and then spoke politely, "Ladies, this is not intentional. I was trying to harvest some herbs above the cliff, but the cliff started to shake and then I fell. I'm lucky to be alive." While talking, Chen Xiang removed two gowns from his pack and walked towards the girls. He could see that the two girls weren't able to move and, in order to not let them feel any more embarrassed, he decided to cover their bare bodies. Chen Xiang was now much closer to the girls and could not help but let his eyes feast on their exquisite bodies. The elegant beautiful girl could only close her eyes and endure the fiery hot gaze of Chen Xiang. As he looked at her body, she trembled while emitting a cold slaughter chi, which chilled to the bone, making Chen Xiang tremble. Chen Xiang's whole body was covered in cold sweat, and he felt a bit of trepidation while trying to cover the cold girl's body. Ahem. This allowed the girl to become somewhat appreciative of Chen Xiang, and her complexion improved a bit. She was no longer releasing any slaughter chi. Chen Xiang arrived at the seductive girl's side and saw that she was giving him a small smile, which made Chen Xiang's face slightly red. He took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Only then did he put the gown over her. This act made the two girls feel a bit of gratefulness in their hearts. They also felt somewhat guilty, as they had just threatened him. Moreover, they were responsible for the shaking of the cliff. If not for Chen Xiang's luck, perhaps he would have died. The two girls relaxed a little. Chen Xiang did not do anything dirty to them, and this mindset of his made the girls appreciative. They were very clear on how strong a man's temptation could be, especially with bodies like theirs. "Ladies, have you been here for a long time? Can you tell me how to get out? I cannot stay here for a lifetime. I have some very important business to attend to." Chen Xiang spoke with frustration. The seductive girl, with a faint smile, spoke softly and said, "Little brother, I have noticed that you don't have a spiritual vein, and, in this life, you will never be able to become a strong cultivator. However, I can gift you an extreme yang divine vein. Furthermore, I can teach you some formidable divine exercises and also teach you alchemy, so that you can refine pills." All of this could help you become a formidable cultivator, but I will only under one condition. The seductive girl threw a coquettish wink towards Chen Xiang, which made Chen Xiang's desire increase a little, yet these words made him slightly startled. However, he felt somewhat uncertain. He could see that these two girls were very strong, but since they were currently injured and could not even move, how would they be able to help others? The beautiful cold girl's eyes lit up. Brat, I will also grant you an extreme yin divine vein and teach you how to practice devil exercises. My devil exercises are not any different than my junior sister's divine exercises. She looked into his eyes. Neither of us would lie to you. It is beneath us. Chen Xiang's body shook. Only geniuses were born with high-grade spiritual veins. But above high-grade spiritual veins were profound veins. After profound veins there were heavenly veins, above that there were divine veins. Having divine veins was almost like going against heaven's will. Did you injure your head somewhere from the fall? Don't make fun of me. I may not have skills, but I'm not an idiot. Although they were far above Chen Xiang in power, he did not believe them. If you obtain these, becoming a formidable cultivator will not be difficult at all. However, later on, you have to help us restore our strength. The seductive girl said, shaking Chen Xiang to the core. The cold girl spoke. We were attacked by a personal enemy and were severely wounded. We are now unable to move and we even lost our previous strength. Moreover, formidable demon beasts lurk around here, so we have to leave quickly. Their meridians, bones, dantian, and internal organs had been hit hard. It can be said that they were completely destroyed, and this was due to the battle with a personal nemesis, which also shook the earth and mountains. This made Chen Xiang shudder. The arrival of Chen Xiang was undoubtedly a good opportunity for them to leave this place. They knew that this place was frequently haunted by demon beasts and, as they were defenseless, they could end up as a meal for these demon beasts at any time. You must believe us now, otherwise, you will never be able to climb out of here in your lifetime, the seductive girl said seriously. Chen Xiang had a difficult time accepting what the two had said. Receiving yin and yang divine veins and also getting devil and divine skills for free was a ridiculous idea. But, after considering everything, he could only choose to believe what they said. Chen Xiang, with a bitter sigh, said, I do hope that you are not playing me. This young one is named Chen Xiang. How should I address my two elder sisters? The cold beauty said, Bai Yu. 2. The seductive girl with a charming smile said, Su Meiyao. 3. Chen Xiang smilingly said, those names really fit you. All right, what is our next step? Su Meiyao said, we must first enact a blood deed, which ensures that both parties won't betray each other. We will do this because we will have to live together for a very long time. Transferring our divine veins to you is a very easy thing for us. Senior sister and I have dual divine veins. Giving you one of them will not affect us. Dual divine veins. Moreover, they both had them. Chen Xiang's mouth was twitching. This made it all the more difficult to believe. However, at the same time, his heart was also somewhat excited, because these two formidable girls will live together with him for a very long time, and, for any man, that would be a dream come true, but they still had to rely on him to restore their strength. Bai Yu said, we don't understand what the other is like, and to prevent that from causing disastrous events, a blood deed is a must. Su Meiyao explained the common things about the blood deed and then explained the steps of a blood deed in detail. The blood deed was simple. First, soak a beast skin in their blood, and then draw the blood deed totem on it. Thereafter, write down the contract's content on the blood deed, then have the three bleed onto the blood deed and the process would be complete. The blood deed will form a contract with the soul. This will allow one to see the contract with their soul. The blood deed filled Chen Xiang with shock. Only at this time did he believe what these two said was real. His heart was also filled with excitement, because, from now on, he will live with these beauties for a very long time. Moreover, this rotted salted fish can, not only, stand up from failure, but also can overturn Tiantian. 4. After that, the two girls, with celestial appearances, and Chen Xiang formed a contract. Sisters, you can't move because your bones and meridians have received quite severe wounds, right? Chen Xiang asked, as he just picked up the hell spirit grass. This hell spirit grass was known to regrow flesh and bones, and it aided recovering from an injury. Bai Yu, while nodding, said, our enemy was very strong, but that slut couldn't kill us directly, due to a blood deed, therefore she destroyed our powers, and then let us sit here to wait for our deaths. Chen Xiang's arrival had, undoubtedly, saved them. Thus, they were willing to transfer their unnecessary divine veins to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang was wrought with fear. These two mysterious girls, with dual divine veins, were already very formidable, but their enemy was even stronger than them and had put them in their current states. I picked up this hell spirit grass on the cliff above. Will this allow you to recover from your injuries? Chen Xiang asked. Since he would soon have 2 divine veins, the hell spirit grass didn't matter anymore. Su Meiyao's face filled with joy and said, yes, of course, with this we'll be able to move. Chen Xiang grinned, with a simple and honest smile on his face, as he took out 1/2 of the hell spirit grass. He divided it into 2 pieces and fed the 2 women. Feeding the 2 beauties made Chen Xiang quite happy. Although the hell spirit grass couldn't fully restore the injuries of the 2, it would, at least, allow their bones to recover without any internal disruption, making it so that they could walk freely, but they still would not be able to recover their strength. Sisters, what is your background, and who is your formidable enemy? This is also what Chen Xiang was most curious about. Bai Yuyu coldly shot him a look with one eye. On the contract, there was nothing saying we had to tell you about this. I do not have to reply to you. Su Meiyao, reorganizing her hair, softly said, these are things you should not ask, as it will involve you too broadly. You are still young, satisfying your curiosity will only bring fatal disaster to you, which is not good for any of us. Now, let's transfer the divine veins. Notes. 1. 1 li equals 500 meters. 2. Bai Yuyu. Bai Yuyu equals Yuyu means distant representing the cold temperament. 3. Su Meiyao. Su Meiyao equals Mei Yao means charming jade representing the seductive temperament. 4. Tiantian equals here Tiantian is just used as a reference, and it looks something like this. To prepare for the divine vein transfer, Chen Xiang sat down on the ground, crossed his legs, and concentrated his spirit power. Both Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao's delicate hands were pressed against Chen Xiang's stomach. From their beautiful hands, a black and a white mist surged out. The black was Bai Yuyu's extreme yin divine vein while the white was Su Meiyao's extreme yang divine vein. Both had a mystical appearance. Within Chen Xiang's body appeared a white and a black stream, randomly spreading through his muscles, bones, and meridians in waves. As they circulated, his body began to slowly strengthen, wave after wave, and, at last, the white and the black qi gathered in his dantian, forming a Tai Chi yin-yang diagram. This was the yin and yang divine veins. As Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu saw the extreme yin and yang divine veins successfully fuse with Chen Xiang, they could not help but get excited. They originally thought that the fusion of the extreme yin and extreme yang divine veins would be very difficult. For them, this was an experiment, so they didn't know what would happen, but they certainly didn't expect it to be successful. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu slowly retracted their hands and watched the white and black mist start to rise from Chen Xiang. Both of them had complex and surprised expressions on their faces. According to the knowledge of the sisters, there has never been a single person with both yin and yang divine veins existing simultaneously. At this time, they realized that this brat, so long as he cultivates diligently, will one day become a universally unrivaled master. Chen Xiang gradually opened his eyes. He had never felt this comfortable and strong in his life. So this is a divine vein. Ah, it feels so good, later I'll be able to enter the true martial realm. Chen Xiang was somewhat excited, and a strange and evil smile flashed over his face, looking very nasty in comparison to his previously simple and honest appearance. This made the hearts of 2 beauties fill with worry. In this world of cultivators, the mortal martial realm is divided into 10 stages: refining qi, quenching body, martial body, opening vein, true qi, divine sense, true aura, divine power, true form, and finally completion. Above the mortal martial realm is the true martial realm. It is the dream of many cultivators to reach the true martial realm. After reaching that realm, one will be filled with overwhelming force, and their lifespan will be extended up to 1,000 years. Chen Xiang was currently at the 3rd level of the mortal martial realm, the martial body stage. For a long time, he had been unable to enter the 4th level of the mortal martial realm, the opening vein stage. True martial realm? That would simply bring disgrace to the divine vein. Bai Yuyu spoke with disdain. Su Meiyao gave Chen Xiang a serious look. You have yin and yang divine veins, your outlook must be more open. In this world, power never completely stops advancing. There are many different worlds. You are currently in the Chenwu mainland, and this is only a small piece of land in a mortal world. You have to remember the contract. You must help us restore our strength. This is not a simple matter. Chen Xiang nodded repeatedly and said, as long as I am alive, I will certainly fulfill the contract and restore the strength of you, 2 sisters. Bai Yu nodded with satisfaction. The quickest way to restore our strength is to use dans, and they must be very high-ranking dans. After our strength is restored, the contract will be complete. At that time, we will be able to take our revenge. Chen Xiang felt a little lost, but if the two beauties stayed by his side, it was certainly something to be happy about. Su Meiyao removed a ring from her beautiful hair and threw it towards Chen Xiang, saying, "Put a drop of blood on it and it will recognize you as its owner. Using this ring is similar to using a storage pouch, so put my elder sister and I in it, then you can climb back up. You should not stay down here much longer, this place is frequently visited by demon beasts." Dripping blood on it, Chen Xiang established a contract with the ring. The space inside the ring was very small, yet, in Chen Xiang's knowledge, legendary storage rings should have a space as vast as a sea. However, one could place living creatures in this storage equipment. This made Chen Xiang marvel. Common storage pouches were very rare and are distributed by sects in the Immortal Mountains. While they were rare, they certainly couldn't hold living creatures inside. According to Su Meiyao's words, he placed the two women into the storage ring. As he put it on his finger, the ring became invisible. This made Chen Xiang admire it even more. He ate the dan given by his father, and, with plenty of stamina, he started climbing the cliff, leaving the death chi-filled abyss beneath him. For him, this was a very arduous challenge. Climbing the cliff made Chen Xiang even more depressed because he was not able to see anything, due to the black death chi, which also increased the difficulty of the climb. After arduous climbing that lasted for a full day, Chen Xiang finally reached the top. Now that he had completed the climb, he realized that it really wasn't all that difficult due to the divine veins. As he was climbing up, he absorbed large amounts of spirit chi which entered his body and eliminated the fatigue, making him as energetic as a dragon and as fierce as a tiger throughout the entire climb. After Chen Xiang got his bearings, he embarked on his way back towards Wohu City. Although he was not able to see Bai Yu and Su Meiyao inside the ring, he was still able to sense them. "Sisters, when are you going to teach me those divine and devil exercises?" Chen Xiang impatiently asked as he was very curious about those divine and devil exercises. "Your body is too weak at the moment, thus, you will not be able to withstand the devil exercises," Bai Yu transmitted, in an ice-cold voice. Su Meiyao said, "You can practice the divine exercises anytime, but first you should return home. I also plan on teaching you alchemy." Chen Xiang, in his heart, was delighted and started to run as fast as he could. In the southern part of the Southern Martial Empire, Wohu City, with a population of 1 million, was quite large and prosperous. It was also the place where the Southern Martial Empire's famous martial arts family, the Chen family, lived. The Chen family had several thousand years of history, and even now, their strength was still quite formidable. With a very rich heritage, they were able to survive for several thousand years, which proved their strength. The Chen family was also very wealthy, and, inside Wohu City, they are the most powerful economic force. The Chen family villa occupies several thousand acres of land, with a countless number of courtyards and numerous gardens. It was surrounded by mountains and rivers, so, even if someone wanted to sneak in, they would get lost. Tianyu Park. Anyone can guess that this mansion belongs to Chen Tianyu. As a Chen family member having a prominent position, owning a huge house is a normal thing for that person. "Dad, I'm back." Chen Xiang returned and rushed into the library, as he knows his father is always there. Chen Tianyu laughed and said, "You smelly brat. You finally came back. Did you know that there is a little beauty here, waiting for you? Do you still remember the little girl of the Shui family, your little wife?" Chen Xiang brow wrinkled. In his mind, there was an attractive little girl, with skin like jade, that he played with when he was only 5 or 6 years old. "Father, you mean Shui Xian?" Chen Xiang asked, remembering the girl of the Shui family. She came and visited the Chen family when she was small. At that time she and Chen Xiang had both played for the entire day, both had a very good time and, later, their families arranged for them to be married. Chen Tianyu nodded his head. "Right, that little girl is in the villa, just as you went out to look for herbs, she came, and pleaded me to allow her to see you." Chen Tianyu smiled and looked out of the window as he said this. Chen Xiang followed his father's gaze and saw a girl, with skin like jade, walking in the courtyard outside. The girl had long hair, a white full body robe, and was adorned with shining golden ornaments. Seeing the girl's attire, which was similar to that of a fairy, Chen Xiang couldn't help but be dazed by her beauty. That girl was only 14 or 15 years old, yet her skin was white as snow, giving her a beautiful appearance and making people unable to move their gaze from her. When the girl saw Chen Xiang through the window, her beautiful face was filled with joy. She charmingly shouted, "Brother Xiao Xiang." The sound of her voice was gentle and lively, capable of captivating a person's soul. Chen Xiang admits that, although this girl was younger, whether it be temperament or appearance, she could stand shoulder to shoulder with the two beauties inside the ring. Let alone the fact that this girl was not yet fully developed. Chen Xiang swallowed saliva and with a dry laugh said, "This truly is the 18 changes of a grown woman. 1. I didn't think that this little girl will turn into a fairy." This girl was the Shui family's beloved daughter of the heavens, Shui Chen. "This girl is my fiancé?" Chen Xiang cried in his heart excitedly. If it was before, Chen Xiang would feel his heart constrict because he didn't possess any spiritual veins. But now, he had the yin and yang divine veins. So long as he was given time, achieving the pinnacle level of martial arts was not just a fantasy anymore. Shui Chen lightly smiled, and little dimples emerged on her cheeks along with a charming blush which made Chen Xiang absent-minded again. Chen Tianyu laughed and then patted Chen Zhang's shoulder, saying, "You two can catch up." Chen Xiang, while laughing, hastily ran out from the library. Coming into the courtyard, Chen Xiang, without any pleasantries, grabbed Shui Shen's soft beautiful hands, and then quickly led her out of the line of sight of his father, as if they were going to do some bad things in their own small time. Chen Xiang, along with the little fairy, came to his own house, making many other Chen family children envious as they went. "Chen Xiang, how long are you going to stay with the Chen family?" Chen Xiang asked, while laughing, and squeezed Shui Shen's cute, dimpled face. Shui Shenxian, with a smile, softly said, "Xiao Xiang brother, my father and I came to Wohu City to talk to you, so we're not going to stay for very long." During childhood, Shui Shenxian got a strange disease and came to Wohu City for a cure. At that time, Shui Shenxian's body was weak, and looked thin and frail, so, in the Chen and Shui families, she was often bullied. Only Chen Xiang took good care of her and played with her. During that time, it made her really happy. He also encouraged her to be strong, so she could fight her illness, and also gave her a few precious dans. These things were engraved in Shui Shenxian's heart and, even when she knew Chen Xiang didn't have any spiritual veins and thus no future in martial arts, she still decided to marry Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang was at somewhat of a loss. He also liked Shui Shenxian very much. When they were children, both families knew Chen Xiang did not have spiritual veins, so Chen Xiang also didn't have any playmates. Therefore, he and Shui Shenxian were like two peas in a pod. "Brother Xiao Xiang, my family told me to dissolve the marriage, but I disagreed, so they made me go see the Yao family and meet their young genius of alchemy." Shui Shenxian saw Chen Zhang's complexion changing, and, with a chuckle, said, "Rest assured, I would rather die than marry that Yao family brat. Also, I have heard that he has a very nasty character." In the whole of the South Martial Empire, Shui Shenxian was considered a genius among geniuses, with her cultivation at the 6th level of the mortal martial realm and being only 14. On the other hand, the Yao family also had a 16-year-old genius, who was able to refine dans. In everyone's eyes, they were the definition of a perfect couple. Chen Xiang was very calm. He now had the yin and yang divine veins, and two unidentified, yet formidable, women as his tutors, so he now had the confidence that, in a short amount of time, he could catch up with the Yao family's young alchemist. Chen Xiang grinned, touching Shui Shenxian's elegant charming cheeks, and smiled as he said, "Shenxian, you go to Yao family and say you already have a fiancé, and, if he still refuses to accept, then tell him to come and challenge me." Seeing Chen Xiang being so confident, made Shui Shenxian very glad. She stood on her toes and kissed Chen Xiang on his lips, then, bowing her head, said, "Brother Xiao Xiang, you must become stronger. I am worried about my family, as they will not hesitate to break us apart." Shui Shenxian gracefully moved through the courtyard, like a swallow, her movements agile and elegant, but also making Chen Xiang become distracted, like a fool. In his mind, the image of Shui Shenxian kissing his lips appeared. Chen Xiang licked his lips and, with a smile, said, "That little girl has grown up a lot." Notes. 2. Nu Da Shi Ba Bian. Literally, the 18 changes of a grown woman. Meaning equals all of the changes that a girl goes through when turning into a woman. "Little guy, you say your little fairy is attractive. Don't you think the two of us are attractive?" In Chen Zhang's mind, a charming voice resounded. This voice belonged to Su Meiyao. Chen Xiang coughed twice, and, with a dry laugh, said, "As long as my wife is good-looking, ha ha. Of course, you two are certainly beautiful, Oh yeah. Sister Meiyao, hurry up and teach me those divine exercises in alchemy. You pervert, what are you trying to say? Su Meiyao spat and said. Nothing. Chen Xiang grinned while scratching his face, a strange look flashing past his eyes. In order to prevent Chen Xiang from being disappointed, Chen Xiang intended to redouble his efforts and cultivate day and night. A faint trace of aura suddenly flashed from the invisible ring on Chen Xiang's finger, as both Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao appeared in front of him, both wearing noble and elegant purple robes. Chen Xiang guessed that these clothes were already present inside the ring. At this time, the afternoon sun was very harsh, but it seemed that the two stunning girls were enjoying that annoyingly bothersome sunlight. The spirit chi around here is really poor. If you do not rely on dance, then it will be very difficult for you to enter the true martial realm. Su Meiyao, looking up at the hot sun, murmured. Chen Xiang was somewhat confused at how the two girls were able to enter and exit the ring at will. Additionally, they were also able to hear sounds through the ring. Chen Xiang entered the small residence with them. The inside was not very large, there was only one hall and 4 rooms. When compared to the huge Chen family estate, this was indeed considered quite small. In the small hall, Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were sipping the spirit tea prepared by Chen Xiang. This was from Chen Xiang's personal collection and he was usually reluctant to drink it. The spirit chi is really thin here. If you want to quickly elevate your strength, you would have to rely on dance. But before this, you must cultivate out the true chi flames. 1. Since you have the yin and yang divine veins, this will not be difficult for you, Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang nodded his head and said, please, Sister Meiyao, give me advice. Come, I will teach you the Tai Chi divine exercise, 4, and the divine exercise of 4 symbols, Su Meiyao said in a charming voice, stroking her hair. That gesture was truly fascinating and charming, and even a bit flirtatious. Due to Chen Xiang's nearly infinite potential, Su Meiyao wanted his full attention, so she would have a fierce helper later. Su Meiyao's delicate hand covered Chen Xiang's forehead and Chen Xiang's mind was filled with many texts and runes revolving around. Each one was obscure and difficult to understand on their own, but, with Su Meiyao's help, he unconsciously mastered them. Su Meiyao said, I'm currently using my divine sense to transfer the steps for cultivation to you. I'm not just passing you the divine exercises but also my understanding of them, you just simply have to follow the steps. Chen Xiang was shocked. He did not think Su Meiyao would be able to use divine sense. In order to practice divine sense, one would have to, at least, be at the 6th level of the mortal martial realm. It is condensed by fusing together spiritual power and true force and can be described as a very mysterious invisible and stateless spiritual force. Anything about us must be kept confidential and no one is to know about us, including your little wife, Bai Yuyu said with a serious and cold tone. Su Meiyao continued, I will tell you right now that my senior sister and I have numerous enemies, who could crush you simply by pointing at your head. As such, you have to keep our secrets. Also, we will not come out from the ring unless you are in dire straits. Chen Xiang's heart shuddered. He did not expect that he was harboring such dangerous 2 individuals. He quickly nodded his head before Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao suddenly disappeared, entering the ring. Tai Chi divine exercise, and divine exercise of 4 symbols, although it was only a small portion of the whole skill. Chen Xiang was still extremely excited. After all, he didn't know of anyone who had been given the opportunity to practice divine skills. In the world of martial arts, the skills were divided into the general categories of mortal level, spirit level, profound level, earth level, heavenly level, sacred level and finally divine level. They are further separated into upper and lower grades. Dans are similarly ranked but they also contain a middle grade as well as the lower and upper grades. Heavenly level skills were very rare, and divine level skills were even rarer. Divine exercises are, after all, only practiced by legendary gods who have unfathomably formidable and overwhelming strength. They were said to be able to summon lightning to strike the earth and even change things that could be considered as acting against heaven's will, such as breaking the very fabric of space. The Tai Chi divine exercise was a foundation building exercise and was specialized for training the body using chi cultivation. It is a very profound and powerful martial art heart law, too. The divine exercise of 4 symbols was divided into 4 parts, namely Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Turtle divine exercises, and these 4 divine exercises were auxiliary in nature and mainly helped in boosting the attack and defense of other martial skills. After practicing and understanding them, they could also be used to demonstrate formidable martial techniques. Chen Xiang arrived at the backyard of his house. surrounded by lush green trees and breathing in the fresh air, he was able to clearly sense all 5 elements of spirit chi that existed between heaven and earth. Common spiritual veins were divided according to attributes, but Chen Xiang's yin and yang divine veins represents and contains all of the world's 5 elements, so he was able to practice all 5 elements of true qis. The Tai Chi divine exercise, although it was a profound heart law, Su Meiyao had transferred her understanding of it, so he quickly mastered it. He operated the Tai Chi divine exercise, and the Tai Chi yin-yang diagram in his dantian started rotating immediately. This made the spirit chi around him violently surge into his body. The absorption rate of spirit chi for any high-grade spiritual vein was extremely fast. As for a divine vein, the speed was unimaginable. At this time, Chen Xiang sat cross-legged at the cave entrance and operated the Tai Chi divine exercise. Spirit chi entered his body, and immediately started purifying him. The spirit chi transformed into a pure white stream, spreading through his body within his bones, muscles, and meridians, making his body sturdier. To become a formidable martial artist, one must purify the body, both internally and externally. Chen Xiang was now strengthening his internal body, and his internal body is generating a powerful qi stream containing formidable force. This is known as true qi. 3. Chen Xiang unconsciously entered into a state of cultivation, with spirit qi madly surging into his body. If somebody saw this scene, they wouldn't believe their eyes. The divine skills of the Azure Dragon and the White Tiger specialized in attacking, while the Vermilion Bird divine skill mainly specialized in fire and the Black Tortoise divine skill specialized in defense. Practicing true qi up to the large success stage would create a form in the dantian, and, as Chen Xiang further practices the divine exercise of 4 symbols, he will be able to later create an Azure Dragon, Vermilion Bird, White Tiger, and Black Tortoise, the 4 divine beasts, in his dantian. This means that Chen Xiang alone must cultivate the same amount as 4 people. Although it would be very laborious, his grasp of power will be far above others at the same level. As he simply started operating the Tai Chi divine exercise, refining spirit chi into polished true chi, a large amount of external spirit chi surged into his body. True qi was flowing inside the large and small meridians of his body, making his meridians much more sturdy. Morning came and pleasant sunlight entered the backyard and warmed Chen Xiang's body. He opened his eyes, which, for a moment, seemed to glow with electricity, and a wind arose around his body, dispersing the white morning mist. His body was covered with a layer of black filth, meaning that he had entered into the 4th level of the mortal martial realm. From the 4th level to the 6th level of the mortal martial realm, it was considered to be the start of a new stage. Now Chen Xiang had reached the 4th level, the opening vein stage. This stage had previously been unreachable for him. Chen Xiang, again, closed his eyes, attentively watching the Tai Chi yin and yang diagram. Within his dantian, he discovered that there were 5 true qi whirlpools, each separating into 4 directions with a clear core. Ordinary people would only one true qi whirlpool, but he currently has 5. One could not even imagine how vivid his true qi was. With this degree of vibrant true qi, his strength was comparable to someone in the 5th level of the mortal martial realm. I finally entered the 4th level of the mortal martial realm. Now Dad doesn't have to beg those old men for herbs. Chen Xiang was rejoicing due to his breakthrough. When he thought about Chen Xiang, who had entered the 6th level of the mortal martial realm at the tender age of 15, he immediately calmed himself down. Thinking about that Yao family's talented young alchemist hitting on his fiancée, Chen Xiang's heart became resolute. He had a desire to cultivate himself more strenuously before going to the Yao family and challenging that so-called genius alchemy master. Start cultivating the Azure Dragon divine exercise, Su Meiyao said. Since her divine sense was restored to a certain degree, she was able to clearly sense the things going on outside. The divine exercise of 4 symbols, technically speaking, was only one divine exercise, but in practice, was a comprehensive guide for boxing, palm techniques, kicking techniques, qigong and many others martial arts. After mastering the divine exercise, the prowess displayed is dependent solely on the individual. The Azure Dragon was centered around the true qi of wood and contained both wind and lighting attributes. As such, cultivating the Azure Dragon divine exercise will allow the user to cast martial skills that contain either wind or lightning force. After taking a shower, Chen Xiang had a quick meal before coming back to his backyard to cultivate the Azure Dragon divine exercise. The Tai Chi divine exercise and divine exercise of 4 symbols were already integrated into his soul, so no matter how profound and mysterious they were, he was able to understand it. After half a day, Chen Xiang was operating the true qi within his body according to the Azure Dragon Divine exercise. Soon, he saw his body start to overflow with a soft azure aura. Sometimes lightning would flash within this azure aura and, from time to time, gusts of wind blew out from Chen Xiang's body. Chen Xiang had now grasped how to release the power of lighting and wind derived from wood attributed true qi. However, for him, this level was insufficient. He wanted to be able to transform the wood true qi into a fearsome wind and lighting to be used with other martial skills from the Azure Dragon Divine exercise. Chen Xiang made the true qi of wood, inside his body, flow into his meridians. Cycling through his body, again and again, the true qi moved erratically, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. Occasionally it was similar to a large river, yet at other times, it flowed gently, like a small mountain stream. Notes. 1. A type of fire made of true qi used for alchemical purposes, add more if needed TL. 2. Here heart law, Shin Fa, can be interpreted as sutra. 3. Qi generated by the internal body. 4. An exercise is basically a cultivation practice which strengthens you. 1 month later. As the moon rose into the sky, an azure light was flashing on the summit of a mountain. When looked at from afar, it looked like a star had fallen on the mountain's peak. In order to keep others from learning about his newfound strength, Chen Xiang used the excuse of gathering herbs to come to this mountain and cultivate. In order to absorb larger amounts of spirit qi, and to gain a better sense of the wind and lightning contained between the heavens and the earth, he came to this mountain's summit. At this place, he could see dark clouds begin to rise and feel strong winds blow. Lightning occasionally sparked between the clouds. Suddenly, a thunderbolt fell directly down towards the mountain peak, as if striking to destroy it. This astonishing scene was actually a byproduct of Chen Xiang cultivating the Azure Dragon Divine exercise. The fierce howling gale and the thunderous lightning in the sky were both caused by his cultivation. The moment the lightning bolt struck his body, not only did he start refining his body through its tyrannical force, but, from time to time, he was also absorbing its energy into his body. This action of his could be described as suicidal. Everyone knows that lightning is one of the most destructive forces of nature. Even true martial realm experts would not dare to face it, yet Chen Xiang was cultivating using the Azure Dragon Divine exercise, and actually wanted to use that natural lightning to assist his cultivation. This bizarre scene lasted until midnight. Chen Xiang's face, which had been distorted due to the pain, was now slowly returning to normal. His clothes were torn in multiple places, and he had numerous black scars all over his body, with smoke emitting from the crevices. Yet above all those scars, a bright azure light was shining. This azure light had a strong wood attribute aura, which aided his body in recovering from the injuries incurred by the lightning. As long as I become strong, this pain is nothing, said Chen Xiang, clenching his fist and shouting in his heart as he endured the pain from one lightning bolt striking his body after another, letting the heavens temper his body with powerful strikes of lightning. This method truly deserves to be called a divine exercise. Not only does it affect the world around the user, but it also tempers the user's body with lightning strikes, making it stronger. Several days went past. During this time Chen Xiang had been repeatedly struck by lightning. Now, he had finally completed his basic body tempering. As Chen Xiang opened his eyes, 2 lightning bolts could be seen flashing within his eyes firm and resolute. It really was an astonishing sight. It is definitely worthy of being called a divine exercise. Mortal martial exercises aren't even worth farts in comparison to this. In just 1 month, it has enabled me to reach the 5th level of the mortal martial realm. At this time, Chen Xiang inspected the 5 true qi whirlpools spinning within his dantian. Comparing them to how they had been before, they had already grown much larger. Chen Xiang could now control true qi as he desired. This was the 5th level of the mortal martial realm, the true qi realm. He was 16 years old and has already reached the 5th level of the mortal martial realm. Many would consider him a genius for this accomplishment. A crimson-colored true qi resided on one of Chen Xiang's palms, the other held an azure-colored true qi. Hand in hand, fire and wood true qi were cultivated through the azure dragon and vermilion bird divine exercise. Chen Xiang felt as if he had shed his former skin and been reborn. Both his true qi and his body were now incomparable to their former states. Then again, his body had been tempered and his true qi had been cultivated through a divine exercise. Chen Xiang could finally understand why divine exercises were considered to be priceless. Truly, by cultivating these exercises people could gain godlike strength. The spirit qi around here is thin. If you want your cultivation to advance by leaps and bounds, then you can only rely on dans. Now that you can release true qi flames, you can finally begin to learn alchemy. Su Meiyao transmitted to him. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu both longed for Chen Xiang to become strong as soon as possible. The quicker he got stronger, the sooner they could recover their strength. The sisters felt fear and helplessness at the loss of their former power. Dash 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 dash. Well, if it isn't the Chen family's great young master, the Yao family's genius alchemist has challenged you. He wants to compete with you in both alchemy and martial arts. Chen Xiang had just entered the Chen family gate when an arrogant teenager walked up and started talking to him. A challenge? When did this happen? Chen Xiang was a little surprised. He had only been away for a few days. That teenager started laughing at him, his voice full of disdain. So you haven't even heard? We all thought you were afraid and went into hiding. This all happened 10 days ago, because the Yao family's genius fancies your fiancé. You truly do have bad luck. Chen Xiang was barely enduring his impulse to beat this prick up. With a discerning fake smile, he replied, Chen Zhenhua, do you remember that time, when we were younger, and I made you fall on your face into dog shit? Are you sure you still want to talk back to me right now? The little prick was Chen Zhenhua, whose father was a commander of one of the Chen family's branches. There were a lot of Chen family branches located across the southern martial empire. The commanders of said families were also very strong, and only gathered at the Chen family villa for important matters. Chen Zhenhua's expression twisted in anger, but he had to bear it. His voice filled with ridicule, he snapped, of course I do. Let's see if you can defeat the Yao family's genius. I can't wait to witness your face when you lose your stunning fiancé. Chen Zhenhua departed, laughing. Chen Xiang snorted, before walking away to find his father. On his way there, he overheard that the Chen family had encountered some sort of an issue. As such, all the branch commanders had been summoned. TNU Park, inside the library. Chen Xiang ran up to his father and asked, Dad, is it true that grandfather has withdrawn from the patriarch's position? Chen Tianyu, while looking dignified, nodded and said, It's true. Your grandfather has gone into seclusion, wanting to join a martial arts sect. The Chen family's branch commanders are all coming here to compete for his position. A Chen family patriarch giving up his position meant that a new patriarch had to be elected. At that time many things are bound to occur, because many battles will take place. Getting injured was also inevitable. Becoming a martial arts family's patriarch, one can have high authority, alongside rich resources and, because of this, many people are desperate to get the position, even at risk of their life. Chen Xiang's father would also compete for the patriarch's position, and, this time, Chen Xiang will certainly be involved. If he does not have enough strength, it will definitely be quite dangerous for him. Chen family patriarch position had never been inherited. It relied on a competition to elect the patriarch. After all, in this world strength was revered, and only with a show of strength would others be willing to follow you. So, for the Chen family patriarch position, others can only be convinced with strength. Chen Xiang saw that Chen Tianyu's complexion was very dignified, so he carefully asked, Dad, will this be difficult for you? Chen Tianyu, with a sigh, said, It is, indeed, going to be very difficult, as there are many who are competing with me for the patriarch position, including those two brothers with whom I have some scruples. No need to say this, but the Yao family genius also issued you a challenge. It would be best to reject him. Reject? After learning about this so-called challenge, Chen Xiang did not intend to refuse. He was now a stage 5 mortal martial realm martial artist, and also cultivated using divine exercises. Because he cultivates using Tai Chi divine exercises, he could restrain his Chi aura, and thus, Chen Tianyu was unable to find out that his son had advanced by leaps and bounds. Dad, I will not allow the Shui family and the Yao family to look down upon me. I must accept this challenge. Chen Zhang's gaze was firm, his eyes were filled with the intention of war, and from his body emerged an immense amount of polished true Qi, which made Chen Tianyu's pupils contract, as surprise filled his heart. He could see that his son had advanced at an unbelievable rate. Chen Tianyu could only think that his son had come across a fortuitous event while out adventuring, but he refrained from asking. His son was strong, and that was enough for him. Chen Tianyu patted Chen Zhang's shoulders and, with a laugh, said, Your dad will support you. You must make the Yao family genius know that there is something beyond the sky. Chen Xiang, with a hollow laugh, said, Dad, can you support me with some money? Although Chen Xiang's father lived a rather luxurious life, he himself was quite poor, as his father was worried that he would turn into a playboy. So his father only allowed him to live a simple life, which led to a dignified elder's grandson looking very plain in comparison to other Chen family members his age. Chen Xiang was a man who preferred not to waste money, but in order to elevate his strength, and also help Chen Xiang, he has spent a lot. So he has not allowed Chen Xiang to spend money randomly. What for? I want to buy a spirit herb to plant and grow, Chen Xiang whispered, while rotating his eyes. Planting spirit herbs not only requires experience, but also meticulous care. Ordinarily those who plant herb are alchemists, generally old men with white hair. One teenager planting spirit herbs with no experience is unusual, as it also requires one to have much patience, as a good spirit herb requires many years to mature. For Chen Xiang, it would also be his first time seeing a teenager plant spirit herbs, but, seeing the confidence in Chen Xiang's eyes, he sighed and pulled out a storage pouch. If I come to know you are lying to me, I'll kick your ass to the point that sitting on a stool will be a nightmare for you for at least a month. Are we clear? Chen Xiang smiles as he made that terrifying comment, which made Chen Xiang tremble. Here is 3,000 large spirit coins. If you don't have the confidence to double the amount, then, in the future, do not ask me for money again. Chen Xiang took out one specially manufactured spirit note. Chen Xiang took it and, with a smile, said, Rest assured, I will become Chen family's youngest alchemist. Chen Xiang was shocked. He knew that Chen Xiang did not have a spiritual vein, thus alchemy would be impossible for him, but in his heart he is also secretly happy. If what he said becomes true, then it will make Chen family even more formidable. He knows that the Chen family has not had an alchemist for many years. Chen Xiang laughed, Quickly get out of here, don't even think about trying to trick me, or you will get a beating. I will go give the Yao family your response. Chen Xiang took the 3,000 large spirit coins and quickly left. Chen Xiang cultivated with the Azure Dragon Divine Exercise, which was a wood-attributed exercise. Azure Dragon True Qi contained a massive amount of elemental life force and, thus, was very helpful for growing spirit herbs. There was even a particular exercise called the Dragon Saliva Exercise, which provided assistance in planting and growing herbs. Upon casting the Dragon Saliva Exercise, a mystical liquid would be created from his Azure Dragon True Qi, which, when applied to spirit herbs, accelerated their growth. Practicing the Vermilion Bird Divine Exercises could allow one to create and release a flame. This flame was essential in alchemy. The Divine Exercise of 4 Symbols was a very multifaceted exercise, and there were many fierce exercises in it, but, because Chen Xiang's strength was not high enough, he could not practice most of them. At the moment, Chen Xiang has 3,000 large spirit coins, equivalent to 300,000 small spirit coins, but it is still not enough for him to buy a middle-grade mortal level, baptizing marrow dan. Due to their price, ordinary martial artists cannot normally afford to buy dans, as even the cheapest of them are very expensive. TLN. I prefer using Dan, instead of Dan. I will use Dan instead of using Dan. For e.g., I'll use baptizing marrow Dan, as opposed to using baptizing marrow pill. In the entirety of Wohu City, there is only one place that specializes in selling dans, and that is the Spirit Dan Hall. It was a 4-story building and, although not very large, the things sold inside were rather expensive. Moreover, 16.5 acres behind the Spirit Dan Hall was a big manor where they grew spirit herbs. Although the Spirit Dan Hall was not associated with any clans, it was not weak as they had many experts inside. One can even find alchemy masters inside the Spirit Dan Halls, who were highly respected for their work. After all, dans were very rare and their benefits were great, allowing martial artists to increase their strength. As Chen Xiang walked inside the Spirit Dan Hall, he smelled a herbal aroma wafting through the hall, creating a soothing sensation in all who breathed it in. There were many counters, each counter selling different kinds of dans and herbs. Before coming here, Su Meiyao told Chen Xiang to start practicing with low-rank dans, thus, he intended to refine the mortal-level low-grade dan, quenching body dan. It was cheap and easy to sell. One dan can sell for around 700 spirit coins, and anyone below the 4th level of the mortal martial realm can get a significant boost from consuming one. Young master, spirit dans are sold there. This stand is specialized in selling spirit herbs. The speaker was a beautiful girl standing behind the counter. There were not many people inside the spirit Dan hall, so Chen Xiang was very conspicuous, but even if she saw Chen Xiang wearing a shabby outfit, she didn't underestimate him, because she knew that hidden experts sometimes came to the spirit Dan hall. Ah, yes. I would like to buy seedlings of the spirit herbs required for refining the quenching body Dan. Do you sell them here? Chen Xiang asked as he walked over to the beautiful girl. Very few people came to buy seedlings, as few have the ability to grow them. Those who were able to grow them were generally affiliated with big forces and are responsible for handling herb gardens. Furthermore, they are generally quite proficient in alchemy. They are treated as treasures by those forces and are rarely allowed to come out for a walk. That girl was slightly surprised but still spoke with a sweet smile. Of course, to refine the quenching body Dan, you will need 4 herbs. The prices are the same for all seedlings. They are quite cheap, only 100 large spirit coins for each seedling. The herbs needed for quenching body Dan are the azure spirit grass, blood element flower, profound bright flower, and the spirit leaf grass. Chen Xiang thought for a moment, then said, give me 5 of each. 400 spirit coins for 1 set makes it 2,000 for 5. Chen Tianyu only gave him 3,000 large spirit coins. Now more than half his fortune is gone. It seems that even the most basic of dans were too expensive to be consumed by ordinary martial artists. The girl was surprised, as she didn't know of anyone his age in Wohu City that could practice alchemy techniques and grow herbs. I'll go fetch it for you, so please wait for a moment. The girl did not think that Chen Xiang was messing around with her because people who messed around with the spirit Dan hall generally ended up regretting it. Well, what do we have here? A handsome teenager, wearing a magnificent and expensive white robe and holding a fan, was coming down the stairs and looking at Chen Xiang with disdain. The upper floors of the spirit Dan hall sold higher-ranked dans, and people that can go up are all distinguished guests. Are your eyes behind your back? Shut your fucking mouth. Why is it that every time you open your mouth, bullshit comes out? Chen Xiang, curling his lips, replied. That teenager is Chen Zhenhua and he and Chen Xiang are of similar age. He is also extremely intelligent. At a young age, he managed to enter the 4th level of the mortal martial realm and is now just a step away from 5th level. Chen Zhenhua's face turned green. Chen Xiang, I admit that you were very formidable when we were younger, but you do not have a spiritual vein, so now I could beat you with a hand tied behind my back. Chen Xiang, being at the 5th level of the mortal martial realm, could only laugh at these words. No matter how strong someone at the 4th level is, they were definitely not his match. This is Chen Xiang, the current Chen family patriarch's grandson? I heard that he doesn't have a spiritual vein and is forever stuck at the 3rd level of the mortal martial realm. It seems he is here for some dans. A beautiful girl walked out from behind Chen Zhenhua and gave Chen Xiang a disdainful look. Chen Xiang recognized this girl. She was the daughter of the governor of Wohu City. It seems that birds of the same feather really do flock together. I did not expect the governor's daughter to be so superficial, being willing to be seen with such a fellow. Chen Xiang said, then no longer paid them any attention, though he suffered and was humiliated by them. Now he was much stronger than them, had worked diligently to obtain strength. Therefore, his mind was much more mature than the two in front of him. Seeing that Chen Xiang was no longer paying any attention to them, Chen Zhenhua the girl became angry. Chen Zhenhua wanted to show off in front of the governor's daughter, so he walked towards Chen Xiang. Young master, here are you spirit herbs seedlings you requested. The girl returned with his order, pulling seedlings out from a storage pouch. Chen Zhenhua was surprised that Chen Xiang was here to buy seedlings. This was a surprise for Chen Zhenhua, but he laughed scornfully and said, Chen Xiang, you do not even have a spiritual vein. Are you really thinking of planting spirit herbs? Don't tell me you want to become an alchemy master? This is hilarious. Because there were not many people in the spirit Dan hall, it's usually very quiet inside. Thus, when everyone heard someone loudly speak about someone not having a spiritual vein and wanting to become an alchemy master, they could not help but stop and stare. Chen Xiang was well known in the city. After all, his grandfather was the Chen family patriarch, his father was a well-known figure, and he did not have a spiritual vein. Most people, when talking about the Chen family patriarch and Chen Tianyu, always ended up sighing. Chen Xiang silently paid the money and received the spirit herb seedlings. He chose to ignore everyone's gazes. Just as he was about to leave, Chen Zhenhua, with a sneer, said, a waste of a person, wasting so many spirit herbs. Chen Zhang's brow wrinkled. When Chen Zhenhua said he did not have a spiritual vein, he chose to ignore it. He had been ridiculed before, but he could not tolerate being called a waste. When everyone saw the Chen family children fighting, they were happy inside their hearts, because they knew it would be an interesting show to watch. Chen Xiang turned around and looked at the arrogant Chen Zhenhua. Suddenly a palm-shaped flame surged out from his palm, making many people begin to feel like they were in a sauna. Inside the Spirit Dan Hall, there are many people who had excellent insight, so they were well aware that this flame was not a normal flame, but actually an alchemical flame. Chen Zhenhua, I dare you to try to face this true qi flame, made by a waste. Chen Xiang spoke with a dark and emotionless tone. Only those with special talent and rare cultivation exercises can create true qi flames. They have to be born with this type of talent and were able to understand the minute changes inside the true qi flames. Because Chen Zhenhua was very close to Chen Xiang, his whole body was covered in sweat. The beautiful girl behind the counter was also in the same state, making her thin clothes become soaked with fragrant perspiration, making her seductive curves stand out. This fierce flame made everyone in the Spirit Dan Hall stand still, dumb as wooden chickens. TLN. Dumb as a wooden rooster. It comes from a Chinese story. For the story you can visit here, basically petrified. This is. Wait, stop, don't burn down my Spirit Dan Hall. An old man started shouting. It seemed that he appeared out of thin air. The flame in Chen Xiang's hands started to dissipate. The people in the Spirit Dan Hall slowly recovered from their shock. They could all feel the fury that had been contained within Chen Xiang's flame. Chen Zhenhua, don't tell me you afraid of the flames made by a waste. Then what does it make you? An even bigger waste? Chen Xiang spoke, openly sneering. Chen Zhenhua's complexion became extremely ugly. No one in their right mind would try to take on those flames. The mouth of the governor's daughter was wide open in shock. She looked at Chen Xiang in surprise. She could feel the power behind those flames. She lowered her head because she had been treating him like dog shit on the side of the road. Who knows why Chen Xiang decided to hide his strength instead of showing it off, like anyone else that was his age would do. Hall Master. This brat, one middle-aged fellow, wearing a short white robe, came out from behind Chen Xiang. That old man just kept on staring at Chen Xiang, his face contorted in a look of disbelief, shock, and joy, all at the same time. This old man was the Spirit Dan Hall's master. He is a very famous alchemist and had a history of scruples with Chen Xiang's grandfather. Little brother, do you want to become my apprentice? The old man asked, which made all the people within Spirit Dan Hall gasp. The hall master was even willing to take him as an apprentice. Everybody knew that many aristocratic families had wanted their children to be taken on as his apprentice. But even if their parents personally came to ask the Spirit Dan Hall's master, they would be rejected without even a second look. Everyone froze in place. Chen Xiang's potential shocked every single one of them. Having no spiritual vein, but still being able to release a true qi flame and, not to mention the fact that, the Spirit Dan Hall's master had seen that Chen Xiang is a good seed. Chen Xiang scratched his head and spoke dismissively, although I would like to, you and my grandfather are enemies, so I cannot take you as my teacher. Then, Chen Xiang turned away casually, without the slightest expression of regret or sorrow. No one could believe that Chen Xiang had actually refused. They suspected that he might have misunderstood what the Spirit Dan Hall's master said. Only after hearing the sound of the Spirit Dan Hall's master sighing did they believe that there are some people who would actually refuse to become a Spirit Dan Hall's master's apprentice. Everyone agreed that Chen Xiang was a fool. Because of a private grudge between his grandfather and the Spirit Dan Hall's master, he gave up such a good opportunity. Chen Zhenhua's heart was filled with jealousy. A moment ago, he had ruthlessly humiliated Chen Xiang, and everyone's gaze had been fixated on Chen Xiang, their gazes filled with disdain. But now many people looked at him with contemptuous expressions. In the eyes of these people, a genius alchemist was much more formidable than any other type of genius. He was able to refine dans. Furthermore, even though he was lacking a spiritual vein, he was able to become a fierce martial artist. Of course, not only did Chen Xiang have divine veins, he could also become an alchemist. He could now plant herbs and release true qi flames. These were the two conditions he needed to start refining dans. Although alchemy needed certain experience and higher understanding, he is sure that he will able to successfully refine those dans. Chen Xiang already knew that Spirit Dan Hall's master was his grandfather's rival. Moreover, his grandfather had been very good to him. From time to time, his grandfather would give him some dans, which ultimately allowed him to reach the third level of the mortal martial realm. After returning to the Chen family residence, Chen Xiang found his father and told him about what had happened at the Spirit Dan Hall. Well done. That old man of the Spirit Dan Hall treats our Chen family poorly. He sells those dans to us at exorbitant prices. Since you have a true chi flame, it will not be difficult for you to become an alchemist. From now on, I'll fully support you. Chen Xiang, in his heart, was very excited. Now that his son can release true chi flames, it can be said he will have a promising future, even better than martial artists with high-grade spiritual veins. Chen Xiang retired to his own small courtyard and started planting those spirit herb seedlings. In the evening, he sat cross-legged on his bed, sensing the rich spirit chi of heaven and earth. He started then using the Tai Chi divine exercise, along with the dragon saliva exercise, and quickly absorbed the spirit chi. After using the dragon saliva exercise, it will leave behind a special essence on his tongue. As long as he uses this essence to water those spirit herbs, the time it will take them to mature will significantly decrease. In the morning, Chen Xiang stretched out his tongue and found an azure-colored dewdrop. This drop was dragon saliva. Seeing this, Chen Xiang started rejoicing. He did not expect to be successful in making the dragon saliva. On his first try, he quickly put that azure dewdrop into a bucket full of water. The bucket started exhibiting a light azure aura. Using the bucket of glowing water, Chen Xiang started carefully watering the seedlings. Azure spirit grass, blood element grass, profound bright flower, and spirit leaf grass. These 4 spirit herbs were only low-grade mortal herbs, but it normally took them 3 years to mature. However, after Chen Xiang used the dragon saliva to accelerate their growth, it only took a month for them to fully mature. The azure-colored grass, which is the one exhibiting a fierce spirit chi, is the azure spirit grass. The one which is as red as blood and the size of a fist was the blood element flower. The one which is white as snow and emitted a bright aura was the profound bright flower. The one that looked like leaf-bladed grass was the spirit leaf grass. Chen Xiang looked around the small courtyard with surprise. While staring at the spirit herbs, he clearly remembered that a month ago they were nothing more than seedlings. Son, about this ability of yours. Refrain from showing it to others, no matter what, only you and I will ever know about this. Just as one should not boast about his treasures in public, you should not let anyone else know about this ability of yours. Chen Xiang spoke with a serious face and did not inquire about how his son got this ability. Chen Xiang nodded his head. This courtyard was in Chen Xiang's domain, so nobody would dare to come in here without his permission and, therefore, Chen Xiang was not worried about people discovering this. Alchemy is not simple. Although you have the ability to become an alchemist, self-teaching is a hard thing to do, especially with alchemy. You should try to build your foundation first. Even if you take a wrong step, we can go and look for an alchemist when needed. Chen Xiang said this, then removed a bucket-sized alchemical furnace from his storage pouch. TLN. Alchemy furnace looks something like this. Chen Xiang said, although this alchemical furnace is not that good, it is the best one which I can afford. Wait for me to ask the elders for some money, and we will buy a better one later. For alchemy, an alchemical furnace was one of the most essential things, second only to the herbs. Chen Xiang was quite satisfied with the black furnace. Laughing and nodding his head, he said, "Thank you, Dad. You will be the first to taste my refined dans." Chen Xiang walked out laughing. During this month, except for looking after the seedlings, Chen Xiang spent most of his time asking Su Meiyao about the main points of alchemy. That seductive girl explained all the difficulties of alchemy carefully, making sure Chen Xiang knew what he was getting into. As Chen Xiang learned about alchemy, he encountered many issues. For example, controlling the flames, pouring the true qi continuously, and solidifying the dan, which required a very accurate control and application of spiritual power. Sister Meiyao, at what time should I start the preparation to refine these dans? Chen Xiang used spirit power to exchange words with Su Meiyao, inside the ring, while picking the matured herbs. Only after some processing would they be qualified to be used for alchemy. The steps of processing required certain skills, but for Chen Xiang, those didn't actually matter, because Su Meiyao has already taught him those things. Su Meiyao with a sweet voice said, "The soonest you will be able to begin is, around, a year and a half." "What? I only have 1 more month before the competition with that Yao family genius," Chen replied, shocked. Bai Yu spoke coldly, "What an idiot. Why do you want to compete with him in alchemy? With your strength, you can easily slaughter him." The corner of Chen Xiang's mouth twitched slightly. If he slaughtered the Yao family genius, then the Yao family and the Chen family will certainly go to war, requiring his father, or even the family elders, to step in. It would be very troublesome. He starts to process the spirit herbs, and then place them inside the furnace. After this, each and every step must be performed extremely precisely. The basic steps of alchemy include pouring the true qi inside the alchemical furnace, baking the spirit herbs, waiting for the spirit herbs to start emitting unique spirit qis, controlling those various spirit qis and mixing them with dried up spirit herbs, gathering them together in one place, and then congealing them into a dan. Chen Xiang placed both his hands on the two separate mouths of the furnace and then poured his flames inside it, while, at the same time, inspecting the internal situation of the furnace with his spiritual power. The flame was poured into the alchemical furnace, backing the spirit herbs inside and drying them out. There was some residue spirit qi left inside the dried spirit herbs, so his first attempt ended in failure. Nevertheless, Chen Xiang was not discouraged by this, because he had learned a few things. He learned how formidable his flames were, and that he needed to increase his control over said flames. Chen Xiang picked up the next set of herbs. This time, he made sure to pay special attention to his control, in order to manipulate the flames correctly. He carefully baked the spirit herbs inside the furnace, but it, once again, resulted in a failure. After experiencing failure 3 times in a row, Chen Xiang had started to build up some experience. His knowledge, regarding the control of flame, had increased during each previous attempt. On the 4th try, Chen Xiang was finally successful in extracting out all the spirit qi. Now he could enter the next phase of alchemy. While injecting his spiritual power into the alchemical furnace, he took a peek inside. Chen Xiang saw the various colors of different spirit qi being emitted by the spirit herbs. Now he started to manipulate these spirit qi, rotating them to form a rainbow whirlpool. The already dried spirit herbs slowly disintegrated into gray ash. After they had completely transformed, Chen Xiang manipulated the spirit qi emitted from these spirit herbs and combined it with the herbal powder. Chen Xiang was now in the 5th level of the mortal martial realm. He had a good amount of spiritual power, yet he was already nearing his limit. This was mainly because he divided the rainbow whirlpool of herbal spirit qi into 5 mini whirlpools while trying to fuse those with 5 equal portions of herbal powder. At the same time, he was trying to refine 5 dans at once. While forming the 5 whirlpools, Chen Xiang's brows started to wrinkle, and he was sweating profusely from his forehead. Not only did he need to use true qi to form his flames, but he also had to control the formed flames while, at the same time, also trying to congeal the dans, which forced him to consume vast amounts of spiritual power. This had better be successful. Chen Xiang shouted in his heart. The 5 herbal spirit qi whirlpools were revolving rapidly and even began the process of fusing together. He now only needed to drop in the right amount of water and let the 2 successfully congeal into 5 dans. Chen Xiang was continuously sweating from his forehead and looked very tired, but he still continued to release the true qi flames and spiritual power. He had used up almost all of his true qi. I finally succeeded, plus I ended up spending all day to refine these 5 dans. Alchemy really needs a lot of time, Chen Xiang said with a sigh. Chen Xiang opened the alchemical furnace, looking at the 5 snow-white, quenching body dans within the dissipating mist, and he could not help but grin. He had eaten a quenching body dan before, but the quality of those dans was not even close to these. If those old alchemists came to know about him successful refining the quenching body dan in a day, they would certainly die with shame. Many alchemists took 3 to 5 years to successfully refine a dan for the first time. Even the most talented alchemists would still need a year and a half, and moreover, they were only able to refine 1 dan at a time. But Chen Xiang in his first attempt successfully refined 5 dans, so if those old alchemists found out, then they would probably die from the shock of it. Not to mention those old alchemists, even the sisters, Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu, were scared by Chen Xiang's inherent talent in alchemy. They inspected the dans with their own delicate hands, and their facial expression became filled with shock. Ha ha, Sister Meiyao, before you said I would have to wait for a year and a half to actually successful refine a dan, but I successful refined them in a single day. Now you can give me a reward. Chen Xiang started laughing proudly. Su Meiyao was also very happy, with a charming voice asked, then, young Master Chen, how can his sisters reward you? Chen Xiang, with both hands hugging his chest, smiled and said, how about a kiss, on the cheek of course. Dream on brat, Bai Yuyu coldly said, then returned inside the ring. Su Meiyao, while trying to contain her laughter, arrived near Chen Xiang and gave him a kiss on his cheek with her soft lips. My dear brother, you have only succeeded through hard work, you should not be too proud. Chen Xiang was only kidding and did not expect this beautiful girl to actually give him a kiss, Su Meiyao watched the stupefied Chen Xiang and laughed while covering her mouth, then returned to the ring. Chen Xiang took a deep breath while smelling the residual fragrance left by her. Calming his heartbeat down, he whispered, "She really is a dangerous woman." I, unexpectedly, got caught up in her pace and was charmed. He touched the invisible ring on his hand as if caressing a lover's face. In order to allow the fairies inside his ring to restore their strength as soon as possible, he motivated himself. A quenching body dan is sold for 700 spirit coins, and Chen Xiang refined 5 dans, so he can sell them for 3,500 spirit coins. He earned big time, and not to mention that he still has a set of herbs left to refine, so if he succeeded again, then another profit of 3,500 spirit coins could be made. Chen Xiang read in a book some time ago that you can refine up to 5 quenching body dan from one set of herbs. So his target had always been to refine 5 dans in one go, but he did not know that refining 5 dans at once can only be possible in a situation when the herbs are used to their utmost efficiency. Only high-level alchemists with better understandings can solidify dans in that way, and the timing was also most important. To control spiritual power and flames at a micro-level, one must take notice of the subtle changes taking place inside the alchemical furnace, or, otherwise, they will fall short. The quenching body dan provides great help when refining the body, but they are limited to martial artists at the 3rd level, or lower, of the mortal martial realm. And as Chen Xiang was now at the 5th level of mortal martial realm, the quenching body dan would not be of much help, but it could still help him in restoring his true qi quickly. Chen Xiang ate 1 dan, and more than half of the true qi within his body was restored. He decided to take the remaining 4 dans to Chen Tianyu for tasting. "The flavor is good, but I just ate 700 spirit coins." Chen Xiang with some sorrow went to his father's library. It was already late night, but Chen Tianyu was not sleeping. Still thinking about some things regarding the martial arts in the library. This was a habit of his. "Xiang, what problem have you encountered for you to come find me at such a late hour?" Chen Tianyu smelled the fragrance of herbs coming from Chen Xiang's body and immediately frowned. Chen Xiang with a grin said, "I want father to taste the very first dan which I have refined." "What?" Chen Tianyu fiercely stood up with his eyes wide open and his face filled with disbelief. He originally thought it would take Chen Xiang 8 to 10 years before he can successfully refine some dans, but did not expect that it'd just take him a day. A single ***king day. Chen Xiang gave Chen Tianyu 4 snow-white, quenching body dans. Chen Tianyu's mouth stayed open with shock while looking at the 4 snow-white dans with disbelief. Still hot. Chen Tianyu mind went blank from shock because he did not believe his son would actually comprehend alchemy in a single day. Is he a genius that was born once in 1,000 years? These type of geniuses, although are respected by various forces, but they are also envied by many, and if there were people who wanted to recruit them, then there obviously will be people who will want to assassinate them. Chen Tianyu took a deep breath, calming down his heart which was filled with excitement and said, "The quality is much better when compared to the Spirit Dan Hall, so it'll at least be sold for 800 spirit coins. I will take these 4 dans and help you in selling them and buying some spirit herb seedlings." For Chen Xiang able to accelerate the growth of spirit herbs, and then refine them into dans in a matter of few days, Chen Tianyu knew that his son will become a grandmaster level alchemist in the not so distant future. You cannot rush these things, first thoroughly refine mortal level low grade dans, and when you get the hang of it, then move on to the higher level ones. Chen Xiang nodded his head, and he returned to his courtyard to rest, waiting till his spiritual power is restored, then he once again started refining the last set of herbs. The next day, Chen Xiang woke up early, thinking about refining the quenching body dan. He was somewhat excited, and after successfully refining it once, this time, it was just simply following the previous steps. He arrived at the last stage of congealing the dans with ease. Within the alchemical furnace, there were 5 groups of herbal powder and herbal spirit qi, fusing them together into a sludge. Chen Xiang was relaxed this time, not like the previous attempt, where he consumed most of his true qi and spiritual power. Successful. Chen Xiang sighed with relief, opening the lid of the furnace, and he saw 5 quenching body dans. It only took him 2 hours to refine the dans this time around. In the following days, Chen Xiang accelerated the growth of many spirit herbs then refined them into dans. Not only was he refining quenching body dan, but he also refined many other low-grade mortal level dans that have many practical uses, such as restoring qi dan, golden healing essence, dispelling poison dan, congealing qi dan, and others. Although at the beginning, each time he would have some failures, but as he got familiar with the nature of the spirit herbs and got better in controlling his flames, while also getting several tips, he naturally got better at refining Dan's. Su Meiyao, this mysterious girl's alchemy technique was very brilliant, and previously he didn't believe this stunning charming girl even knew alchemy, because in his knowledge, alchemists were either bald or white-haired old men. Chen Xiang did not get tired these past few days, and practicing alchemy didn't even affect his qi practice. He was also practicing the dragon saliva exercise in the evenings to create azure dewdrops, which were able to accelerate the growth of spirit herbs. Once again, a month went by, and in this month, Chen Xiang became skilled in refining low-grade mortal-level dans. Editor note. Remember, dans are pills. Today, Chen Xiang did not go to accelerate the growth of the spirit herbs. Early in the morning, he instead went to a huge field located in the middle of the Chen family villa, because today was the day to finalize the position of the new patriarch. The Chen family patriarch position had been empty for 3 months, causing the Chen family to be somewhat chaotic. The huge field of the Chen family villa was covered with bricks, and many important children of the whole Chen family were standing there, which roughly amounted to 300 of the Chen family's elite juniors. Everyone from Chen family encircled the field, and a large area in the middle was left empty, where 5 middle-aged men stood, of which one was Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang was also present among the crowds, watching everything with joy, and was ready to jump in any time to help his father compete for the patriarch position. One middle-aged man with thick eyebrow, big eyes, gray hair, said while sneering, "Chen Xiang, you know we have one very important condition for the Chen family patriarch position." The middle-aged fellow's name was Chen Haohai, and he was a branch commander of the Chen family. He was also older than Chen Xiang and was at the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. This branch of the Chen family was also quite strong, so he thought he had the qualifications to become the Chen family patriarch. In seniority, Chen Xiang needed to call him uncle. Chen Tianyu's eyes, which were filled with rage, stared at Chen Haohai, and he coldly said, "Of course I know. Relatives of the patriarch should have good potential, in order to avoid misappropriation of public resources to waste on their family members." Chen Xiang's mother had already passed away, and since Chen Xiang was sensible he never asked about how she passed away, so Chen Tianyu was the only close relative of Chen Xiang. "Ha ha. But your son doesn't have any spiritual veins, so if you get the patriarch position, you will certainly spend a lot of valuable pills on him. Everybody knows all these years you have purchased many spirit herbs and pills and used it on him. Are you not going to help your son again?" Chen Haohai while laughing said, "Everyone knows he is a waste who can never advance." Chen Tianyu naturally knew that his son was a genius among his peers, but he just wanted to hide his strength and not expose it, otherwise it would lead to trouble. "My son can release true qi fire. He has the potential to become alchemist. Who says he is useless? The Chen family elders will probably have other opinions," Chen Tianyu said while sneering. At this time everyone started discussing. Chen Xiang refusing the offer to become Spirit Danhal's master's apprentice was already spread all over in Wohu City. Although Chen Xiang did not have a spiritual vein, but he can still release true qi flame, so he has the opportunity to become an alchemist. Chen Haohai snorted and said in a cold manner, "But he refused to become Spirit Danhal's master's apprentice. He doesn't even have a teacher, so he will have a hard time becoming an alchemist." At this point, Chen Xiang's calm and steady voice was heard by everybody. "I am now able to refine the low-grade mortal level, quenching body Dan." Hearing Chen Xiang's words, everyone stared blankly, and Chen Haohai started laughing. "Huang Ko Xiao, you're only 16 years old and can already refine a pill? Do not think lying will provide any help to your father in competing for the position of the patriarch. Also, lying before an elder can lead to you having some severe punishments." TLN. Huang Ko Xiao is a Chinese proverb. I couldn't find any similar proverb in English. It is used to ridicule someone younger of age. If you can think of something, please comment. You think you're the Yao family genius? People of the Yao family belong to one of the pill-making aristocratic families. They have vigorous heritage. Chen Xiang walked from inside the crowd, and with a steady gaze and calm complexion, he put forward an alchemy furnace, looked at the sneering Chen Haohai, and said, "Do you dare to bet with me? I can refine the quenching body Dan in one try. If I succeed, how about you kowtow to apologize to me in front of everyone?" Chen Haohai started laughing again, and everyone else became stunned. They did not even think that Chen Xiang could be this presumptuous in front of an elder. Chen Haohai became angry because of Chen Zhang's attitude. Not only was Chen Xiang much younger than him, and he was also defying him in front of everybody. Chen Tianyu fully supported his son's actions, and at this moment he felt proud with his son's response. Chen Haohai's face was full of anger, and he heavily said, "What did you say?" In between conversation, Tru Qi rushed toward Chen Xiang, but it was actually dispersed by Chen Tianyu. Chen Xiang's both eyes stared at Chen Haohai, and enhancing his sound he said, "I want you to bet with me if I could refine, quenching body Dan, in one attempt, and if I am successful then you will kowtow in front of everyone and apologize to me." Chen Xiang repeated it with a serious face, making sure that nobody thought of it as a joke. Moreover, his expression was also full of the arrogance. Can a teenager face an elder like this? Not many within the Chen family would even dare to think of doing something like this. Chen Haohai was trembling with anger, because he saw Chen Xiang ask with a serious look, and he did not dare to comply immediately, but everybody around was waiting for an answer. Chen Xiang was watching Chen Haohai intently, while continuing, "You slander me in public by declaring me as a useless waste, and now I want to prove myself, while simultaneously making you apologize to me. As a senior you're still refusing to bet with me?" Chen Haohai wanted to beat the crap out of this little brat, but he actually did not dare. After all, killing a child of the Chen family was a very serious matter. An old man said, "Since it is like that, Chen Haohai, you bet with him, but a kowtow apology is exempted. After all, it was simply some angry words of a little brat. If he can refine a pill in a single attempt, Chen Haohai, you must give appropriate compensation." "I agree, if my son loses, I will not fight for the patriarch position," Chen Tianyu said, then nodded his head towards Chen Xiang. Chen Tianyu's words caused an uproar. Chen Haohai while snorting said, "Okay, I will bet, if I lose, then I will give him my 1,000-year-old blood spirit grass." 1,000-year-old blood spirit grass. Everyone together shouted in a low voice. How could they not be surprised? The blood spirit grass grown for 1,000 years was a very expensive and profound level low-grade spirit herb. "Chen Xiang, if you start the alchemy now, about how long will you need?" that old man asked. He was a Chen family elder and carried a certain prestige. According to everyone's understanding, refining a mortal level low-grade pill will at least take half a day, and the fastest it will take is 2 or 3 hours, but it was now being refined by a 16-year-old teenager. "Quickly, we do not need to delay much time." In between conversation, Chen Xiang sat down cross-legged, and that elder and Chen Haohai came to check the alchemy furnace, to prevent Chen Xiang from cheating. "Inferior alchemy furnace, it seems Chen Tianyu, that you are very poor." Chen Haohai started sneering, as everyone knew that all of Chen Tianyu's money was spent on Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang finished removing the herbs from his storage pouch, reorganized and inspected them. While pouring his warm true qi flame inside the furnace, he put all the herbs inside, and his every move was very meticulous. But that true qi flame also made everyone slightly surprised. Although many people can release flames to attack, but they could only do so through some martial skill, and those flames can only be released for the purpose of attacking. In simple words, they cannot control the flames as freely as Chen Xiang, and only if they practiced fire control type exercises could they do so, but these exercises were very rare and difficult to practice. Chen Xiang continuously poured the flame inside the alchemy furnace, and at this time, from within the alchemy furnace, the smell of some herbal aroma leaked out. 1 hour had passed, and everyone saw with closed eyes that Chen Xiang's eyebrows suddenly started twitching. Onlookers knew he was in the most crucial phase, and Chen Haohai, who was also watching this, started sweating. He was worried that he would have to give up a 1,000-year blood spirit grass if he lost. Everyone saw smoke drifting out from inside alchemy furnace, and at this time Chen Xiang also opened his eyes and with a happy expression stood up and said, "Please inspect it." "What? Completed in 1 hour?" Everyone's expressions were full of questions. That elder started to inspect first. Although he does not know much about alchemy, he was fully aware of the alchemic process, and he had been carefully watching Chen Xiang, knowing that Chen Xiang followed the basic steps of alchemy. Although he was not clear about the situation inside the alchemy furnace, he was able to sense the heat in the furnace constantly changing, and these changes were very subtle. Opening the lid of furnace, everyone smelt the faint herbal aroma, and they were truly familiar with this aroma. Moreover, they also witnessed the refining process, and when they saw the elder taking out 5 snow-white pills, everyone could not help but exclaim. Was I mistaken? He is only 16 years old and is already able to refine the quenching body pill. He is extremely talented, a man shouted with shock. It looks like the quality of this quenching body pill is much better than what we usually use. I did not think that Chen Xiang would be so secretive. He has been hiding his strength and biding his time. Just his alchemy techniques alone make him much more valuable than those geniuses with high-grade spiritual veins, another man exclaimed. All of the Chen family's core members gathered in this field now sighed with jealousy and envy. Chen Xiang was shocked, sad and angry, all at the same time. His complexion turned very ugly. The obvious reason being that he had just lost 1,000-year blood spirit grass. If it were to be taken to the auction house, it would have been sold for an extremely high price. The Chen family's elder had trembling hands. Both of his eyes were wide open while staring at the snow-white pills in his palm. My Chen family finally has an alchemist. The Chen family finally had an alchemist on their side. These simple words set the blood of every single Chen family member aboil. One had to know that the Chen family did not have an alchemist, so they had to spend large amounts of resources to buy pills that were made by others. This caused them to be ridiculed by some of the fierce martial practitioners that belonged to the other aristocratic families. But now, the Chen family also had an alchemist. Not to mention, this boy was so young, sooner or later he was bound to become a grandmaster-level alchemist. Chen Xiang, you bet with my son willingly, now you should admit and accept your defeat, Chen Xiang said with a laugh. Humph. Chen Xiang was jealous but also very sad. He reluctantly took out the 1,000-year blood spirit grass and handed it over to Chen Xiang. Now nobody in the entire Chen family would even dare to look down on Chen Xiang. After all, he was now a 16-year-old alchemist. Many of the girls from the branch families even started to throw coquettish looks towards Chen Xiang in an attempt to reel him in. Many of the young boys from the Chen family glared at Chen Xiang with fire in their eyes. They were jealous to the point of death. Chen Xiang completely turned a blind eye towards their reactions, as he remembered many of these people ridiculing him before. Even if your son is an alchemist, you still have to fight for the patriarch position, Chen Xiang retorted. Two other middle-aged men that were previously competing with Chen Xiang for the patriarch position announced their withdrawal. They were able to tell that Chen Xiang was only 16 years old, yet he was already able to refine a mortal-level low-grade Dan. It could be said that his future was immeasurable and potentially boundless. Not offending such a person would be the most sensible approach. Other than Chen Xiang and Chen Xiang, there was just one other person remaining in the competition for the title of patriarch. Chen Xiang said, Chen Xiang, now you just have to fight against his two brothers. If you win, then naturally the position of patriarch will be yours. Chen Xiang, while squinting his eyes, said, this is what you are saying? Well then, will the two of you come together or one by one? Even though Chen Xiang was outnumbered, his speech did not show any signs of weakness but instead displayed his strong character. Chen Xiang was indeed someone capable of making others submit before him. Of course it will be one-on-one. We brothers would not want anyone to think we are bullies, now would we? Hearing Chen Xiang, the crowd retreated a few steps back, giving the three of them more space. The shockwaves emitted by a battle between two practitioners at the 7th level of the mortal martial realm alone were extremely frightening. Everyone retreated away from the edges of the field. Both Chen Xiang and Chen Xiang simultaneously moved using their fastest speeds, both of their palms striking the other. Their palms closely stuck to each other, while they started contesting using their true qi. Chen Xiang's whole body was covered with scorching hot true qi, while there was no movement from Chen Xiang. But the hideous blue veins that were filled with true qi was appearing on Chen Xiang. Both of them are still stuck closely together, while looking at each other with serious expressions. Suddenly the whole field started to shake and tremble, the ground beneath them began to crack, and waves of air currents were violently blowing sand and dust in all four directions. Chen Xiang violently roared, and with it the shaking disappeared and the fierce air current also stopped. Chen Xiang was blown backwards while coughing up large amounts of blood, while Chen Xiang also retreated few steps. Falling on the ground, Chen Xiang struggled to get up on his feet. He knew that he had just lost, but there was a trace of a proud smile on his face. This contest Chen Xiang had won, but his complexion became pale. Chen Xiang while laughing said, although you have won the battle, but you will lose this war. In your current state, even a 6th level mortal martial realm martial practitioner can easily defeat you. While laughing, he also coughed up a lot of blood, as it could be seen that he had suffered some heavy internal injuries. You are also in the 8th level of the mortal martial realm? Chen Xiang asked while covering his abdomen with one hand. He did not think that Chen Xiang would unexpectedly step into the 8th level of mortal martial realm. Are you not same? Chen Xiang sneered. Both Chen Xiang and Chen Xiang were actually 8th level mortal martial realm martial practitioners, and this made everyone shocked. Everyone could see that Chen Haohai did not even hesitate to severely injure Chen Tianyu. Chen Tianyu still had another fight left and his opponent was Chen Haohai's younger brother. Chen Xiang swiftly moved past, supporting Chen Tianyu who was almost about to fall. "Dad, how are you?" While asking, Chen Xiang put his hand on Chen Tianyu's abdomen and poured a pure wood true qi into his father body. Sensing the vigorous wood true qi gushing inside his body, Chen Tianyu shuddered, looked at Chen Xiang with a shocked expression, but soon calmed down. Editor's note: from now on we'll try to use just wood true qi, or lightning true qi instead of wooden attributed or lightning attributed true qi as that's too long and they have the same meaning. I suffered some serious internal injuries. Chen Haohai did not hesitate to seriously injure me, so do not waste your true qi. Chen Tianyu was excited in his heart, because he felt his son's true qi was quite vigorous, and its strength was far more than what he had expected. Chen Xiang's heart became very heavy after listening to Chen Tianyu. If his father lost the battle, then it would become a hopeless situation. "Start the second battle, do not waste time needlessly," Chen Haohai said with a weak voice and a pale complexion, but he was very excited inside. He could already see the scene of his brother defeating Chen Tianyu. Chen Xiang, while watching Chen Haohai intensely, with a sharp aura flashing in his eyes, said, "I'll fight." Chen Xiang unexpectedly wanted to fight in place of his father, and this made everyone quite surprised. They knew Chen Xiang did not have any spiritual veins and therefore was not very strong. However, he could still release true qi flames and already had a profound level of control over them, but he cannot recover the true qi in such a short amount of time. Chen Xiang wasn't also going to be facing an ordinary person, and his opponent was a practitioner with the strength at the 7th level of the mortal martial realm. Everyone mostly thought that in order to make his father the patriarch, Chen Xiang made an idiotic decision. Chen Tianyu was also very surprised by Chen Xiang, but when he saw Chen Zhang's gaze full of confidence, his worries disappeared. Moreover, he was now seriously injured, so if he fights in his current condition then he will surely lose. Not to mention that his injuries will surely become worse. A teenager came forth with a contemptuous laugh. "You do not have a spiritual vein and you want to enter the dispute for the patriarch's position? By just refining some low-leveled pills, you think you have enough strength? I alone can easily put you down, plus I recently entered the 5th level of the mortal martial realm." This teenager was Chen Zhenhua, and he had some conflict with Chen Xiang in the Spirit Dan Hall and was Chen Haohai's son. Entering into the 5th level of the mortal martial realm at this age also made him a rare genius and thus justifies his arrogance. "Chen Zhenhua, if I win against you, what will happen then?" Chen Xiang said with a dull tone. His expression was very calm, not like a hot-headed person.